We saw the star. They left by another road. Thank you for the opportunity to be with you today. Really appreciate the invitation to be here and to share a few words and reflection on the text that we just read. Please allow me to light a candle as a symbol of the light among us. We saw the star. They left by another road. I tumbled into the ecumenical movement by accident. I was raised in a rural area in a denominational tradition that in our area did not acknowledge other Christian traditions. One of my earliest memories of a Sunday sermon is one that fingered Baptists, Catholics, and other Christian traditions with the rhetorical question, "Aren't you glad you're not like them?" Then again, in the 1960s, this attitude and this teaching might not have been so uncommon. Maybe you remember, or maybe you've heard stories told in your family or in your tradition about how Christian churches did not acknowledge one another. They did not cooperate with one another. They've been divided, or even now today are dividing. This is certainly true of my own tradition, the Christian Reformed Church in North America. Just this week, I've been corresponding with my pastor about how to respond to the current challenges of division sparked by differing perspectives and convictions regarding human sexuality. Polarization, division, extremism, a chill, echo chambers. I think we may all agree that we live in a time of change and in a society where polarization, differences and division, a kind of hand up, keep away from me, has become part of our daily lives. Many of us are worried about how political rhetoric or gossip on social media translates into feelings of being left out, left behind, hurt, excluded, deflated. What about you? Is your church life, is your faith life best described by what divides and separates, or by living into unity and peace? We saw the star. They left by another road. For me, it was the late 1990s when I tumbled into the ecumenical movement in Canada. My dream job had been posted on the bulletin board of my graduate school. I applied for the position, and to my surprise, I was hired to serve as the Associate Secretary, Justice and Peace of the Canadian Council of Churches. And in the past 3-4 years, I've had the privilege of serving as the General Secretary, which is like the CEO or the Executive Director. I've had the extraordinary privilege of working alongside the member churches of the Council in the domains of human rights, Jubilee debt cancellation, public health care in Canada, free trade agreements, refugee rights, climate justice, biotechnology and genetic manipulation, synthetic biology and human heritable genome editing, peace and disarmament, anti-Black racism, truth and reconciliation with Indigenous peoples, anti-Semitism, Islamophobia. I've had the privilege of being up close, hosting conversations about what Canadian churches have to say about all these issues, serving from time to time as a secretary and keeping notes and documenting those conversations and noting where our points of unity lie and what we can say together. The track record of Canadian churches speaking together is, like the list of topics above, meaningful, long, relevant, and persuasive. This was my dream job. This is my dream job because I was and am passionate about the call of Christ on our political lives, on how we use power, what we understand by justice, how Christians, how Christian churches, how people of faith contribute to justice in the public square and to justice in Canadian society. I remain curious and interested in that unique quality of Christ's call on our lives to unity and peace, particularly that use of power, power that is empty of ourselves, not full of ourselves, power that invites and convicts, but does not compel, power that is born of foolishness, not self-assurance or pride. I wonder what or who invited you into the ecumenical movement. We saw the star, we left by another road. You know, 2 months ago, Dr. Rima Nasrallah from the Middle East Council of Churches led a Bible study with the governing board of the council, the Canadian Council of Churches. She taught us how it came to be that the Middle East Council of Churches selected this passage and the theme this year and what they saw and heard in the Christmas and Epiphany or Theophany story in Matthew 2, the one that has the phrase, "We saw the star in the east and we came to worship him." If you're interested, you can see her Bible study, watch it, and read the transcript of her presentation. That with video is on the Week of Prayer for Christian Unity website under the 2022 resources. And the URL for that website is www.weekofprayer.ca. Click on that and then 2022 resources, and you'll see when you scroll down a link to that video and the transcript. And she's a powerful speaker, brings some incredible insight to the conversation. It's worth a listen or a watch. You know, for me, I will not soon forget how she spoke about the star, the light, and the light of Christ. She reminded us that the light, though it appeared in the east, is not only for the east. In the same way, the light of Christ is not only for Christians. While the light appeared nearby, those who were nearby did not recognize it. Instead, it was people from far away who recognized the light and followed it. In fact, people who were stargazers and astrologists rather than the chosen people. Other people from afar. You know, while we may be tempted to claim the light is not ours to claim. The question arises, what have we done with that light among us? Have we assumed that others cannot see the light? I am reminded of the phrase that the finger that points to the way is not the way. The finger that points to the way is not the way. Have we mistaken things that point to the way for the way itself? In other words, have we mistaken buildings, tradition, organizations, practices, or the way we've always done things for the light of Christ, which is for all creation? We saw the star. They left by another road. Light is a powerful symbol. The Apostle Paul describes it to the Ephesians this way in the reading that we just heard. Now in the Lord, you are light. Live as children of light, for the fruit of the light is found in all that is good and right and true. How do we recognize the light? Its fruit is found in all that is good, all that is right, all that is true. Further back in history, the prophet Isaiah, also in the reading we just heard, the prophet Isaiah alludes, or he points, or he predicts, or he promises the Messiah this way. The people who walked in darkness have seen a great light. Those who lived in a land of deep darkness, on them light has shined. For a child has been born for us, a son given to us. Authority rests on his shoulders, and he's named Wonderful Counselor, Mighty God, Everlasting Father, Prince of Peace. His authority shall grow continually, and there shall be endless peace for the throne of David and his kingdom. He will establish it and uphold it with justice and with righteousness from this time onward and forevermore. Endless peace, established and upheld with justice and righteousness. Illumined by the light, are we not changed? We saw the star. They left by another road. For over 50 years, the Wolfville Area Inter-Church Council has been illumined. The light shines and appears among us. From the beginning, you've been responding together to poverty and food insecurity through the food bank. You responded together to that terrible series of shootings down the road just 2 years ago. Your shared participation, accompaniment, and experience of the L'Arche community reminds everyone of our vulnerability. Together, you respond and invite and learn with other faith communities that have come to the Wolfville area. The Canadian Council of Churches has a similar experience. Since 1944, we have been responding to Christ's call for unity and peace. We are seeking Christ's truth with an affection for diversity. We are committed to acting in love through prayer, dialogue, and witness to the gospel. We are now 26 member churches and 8 observer churches in the Anglican, Catholic, Evangelical, Free Church, Orthodox, and Protestant traditions. Also nearly 20 affiliates and sponsors who join in the work of unity, justice, peace, reconciliation, care for creation, all that is good, all that is right, all that is true. We are so pleased to be walking this one road together, pulled and drawn by the light. Changed by the experience, or in the words of that other Epiphany text about the road to Emmaus, changed by the experience, and with hearts strangely warmed when we listen to one another. Changed, may we leave together by another road. Amen.